This is the Who's Your Writing Project digital workshop on annotation tools. The two annotation tools we'll be using are Scribble and Annotate. What is an annotation tool? Annotation tools are software that helps you annotate. Annotating is adding critical information like explanations or comments to a document. When you have students talk to a text, that's annotation. When you have students highlight words that they don't know, or add comments to a text, or write in a novel, that's all annotation. Annotation lets you see the thinking behind the reading. These two software tools help you or help students annotate texts that are online. And so you can highlight, you can add notes, you can add a legend that organizes your notes, you can change the text color, and you can make lots of connections to different parts of the text. So what do you do, or what can you do with annotation tools? Well, as a teacher, you can add commentary or explanations to a document for better or deeper student understanding. So if you have students that are reading documents that are above their reading level, you can add support to scaffold their reading so that they can read those documents on their own with your scaffolding. So why are there two different tools in this workshop? There's a little bit of difference between the tools and what you can do with them. They are both annotation tools, but they have different limits. So first let's start with Scribble. Scribble has a bookmarklet for easy access, and so any website that is online, you can use Scribble for. It has an unlimited number of websites, so you can do as many as you want with the free version. It keeps a library of sites that you've used so that you can go into your library and see all of the different sites that you've annotated. It also creates a separate URL for every site that you do. So once you annotate a site, it has its own URL. So if you ever have issues with dropped sites where the link is broken and it no longer works, Scribble is a great tool to use so that you can annotate that site or just save that site in its own URL, and it'll never go away. You'll always have access. It is simple, it is very easy to use, and it's a very bold view. In addition, there's a legend so that you can create some consistency throughout your library, and that one's Scribble. Annotate is the other software tool. The free version is limited to 30 pages per month, so you can only annotate 30 pages per month. However, unlike Scribble, which is only for websites, Annotate lets you upload images or PDF files or PowerPoints, and it lets you annotate those as well. It's more collaborative and has much more involved features. So it's a little bit more complicated than Scribble, but once you get to know it, it is a fairly easy site to use. You can do highlights, strike-throughs, and inserts, and it also lets you add shapes on top of your images. So instead of just adding notes, you can also circle things, you can put boxes around things in different colors, and so you can highlight in different ways. So for these two tools, how can you share them with your students? For Scribble, there's an email share, so you can send direct to people with comments through email. You can save to your personal library and then share the URL. Or you can put it on an overhead or a projector for a whole group presentation or a small group presentation. For Annotate, there's an email share. There's shared folders for collaboration, and so you can put different people, you can set different people to have access to folders, so you can share a folder. You can give invitations to people. You can email notify when people are annotating your document, and then you can monitor documents and watch them and see who is doing what to what document. So technology is a tool. It matters how we use it. What can students do with annotation tools? Or what can you do for students? Well, students can see annotated texts or websites with teacher notes for guided learning. This makes it so that students can read at a higher reading level because you have scaffolding built in. They can access differentiated texts with more or less direction, such as vocabulary added in or guided reading questions. For students that are struggling, you can define vocabulary words right there so that they don't have to go outside of the text to look for those. You can also add guided reading questions that help them focus on the particular aspects you're looking for them to read. With students that are at higher levels, maybe you take away that scaffolding and let them work on it on their own. Students can read texts that are far above their reading level because they have that scaffolded guidance. Students can annotate their own texts to demonstrate close reading. So if you do something like talking to the text or another annotation set where students are asked to make direct comments onto a piece, they can do that with annotation tools, such as talking to the text. They can also summarize, predict, question, and use other reading comprehension strategies, and you can see which strategies they are using because they are making their comments right onto the text. Some of the benefits of annotation tools. First off, it focuses student reading on the specific tasks or the content that you want students to look for. So say you're reading a piece and it's got lots of different ways you could go, but you want students to focus on a particular path. You can make your guided reading questions focus on that, and it brings the students to focus on that particular task. It can also give students guidance during a reading assignment. So if you know that a student might get distracted, or if you know that students might read but not comprehend, you can give guidance during it, whether it's summaries at the end of paragraphs or guided reading questions to help students make their own summaries. You can kind of focus the reading for students. You can help students define vocabulary and clarify text. If students are reading something and you know that there are some words that they just won't know or they won't be able to figure out from the context clues, you can define those words right there so that students can know what they mean and move on into deep reading. You can also clarify text. If, for example, they're making an allusion to something that students might not know about, you can make a comment that puts that allusion into perspective so students immediately make sense of the text. You can let students show their connections as they make them, and then the reading strategies as they use them. So annotation tools are a great way to let students show what they know, or show how they think, or how they use active reading strategies. And then you can take those and decide whether students need extra help with them, or if they're ready for a new strategy, or what. You can scaffold your reading materials to meet students at their reading level. If you have students that are at a higher reading level, you might give them a piece of text with just some generic questions to answer at the end. If you have students that are at a medium reading level, you might give them a little bit of background information to prep them first, and then ask some questions for the end, maybe with a couple of key vocabulary terms in there. If you have students that are reading at a lower reading level, you can offer lots of guidance and support by asking guiding questions, by clarifying, by summarizing as they go, and so students can read the same material no matter what reading level they're at. Finally, annotation tools let you highlight and organize text features, which means that you can point out and give lessons on how to read informational text using all kinds of websites. And so you can pull these websites from anywhere, and you can highlight, you can organize, you can show students how the text features themselves are organized and what the purpose for that is. So the three ways that we're going to use annotation tools in the strategies are for modeling deep reading strategies, for creating scaffolded texts, and for writing workshops demonstrating writer's craft.